Howdy do y'all, this is John, and today we're talking about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, a new movie out in theaters only right now. And then Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, a team of commandos are trying to escape Raccoon City as an outbreak of zombies plague the town. Okay, first things first, I really like some of the Resident Evil video games. I've played a few of them. My favorite's Biohazard, so I have a little bit of knowledge about the video games. Not as much as someone who's been playing them from day one, though. And first of all, I have to give the people who made this movie props for trying to convey the tone and style and theme of the video games into this film. Because tonally and stylistically speaking, this is a pretty accurate depiction of what the video games are like, based on the ones I've played. Something that Paul Anderson's movies never really did, although I still enjoy them as fun but dumb movies. And along with the direction that the film took, the music is a lot darker and a lot more dramatic in this film than in Paul's movies, because Paul had for the bulk of them, he had this very techno soundtrack to them, very techno rock and roll. This movie, it's almost completely orchestral, and the soundtrack is very dark for the most part. However, there are a couple of scenes where I'm just in there going, this is supposed to be scary, and the music you're playing, like Journey, that's not really putting fear in me. Yes, a supposed to be scary scene has Journey playing on it. They were literally playing Any Way You Want It by Journey. And from this point on, I have negatives to talk about the movie. The movie's narrative doesn't really know where to commit itself to. Is it an adaptation of the very first game, which I know the story of the first game even though I haven't played it? Or is it an adaptation of the second video game, which again I know the story of that too, but I haven't really gotten to the point of playing it, or at least its remake. Because on one hand you have the outbreak in Raccoon City, which yeah, that's the second video game. But at the same time you have Spencer Mansion, which is, from what I understand, the very first video game. Now, I don't know if the outbreak was already in the very first video game, but from what I understand, it didn't happen until the second one. And the movie kept going back and forth between the two as if it couldn't figure out what it wanted to do. Second of all, the characters are not that well developed. I have at least played one Resident Evil game with Claire in it, and also one with Jill. I know how they are as characters, and you know, they look like, well, Claire looks like Claire, but I never really felt like they were the video game characters brought to life or anything like that. Last thing I'd like to point out is the movie takes place in 1998. It could have been set today. What I mean by that is there's no real point in them setting it in 1998, except to throw in some 90s references like Blockbuster. Guys, in the end, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, I just didn't think it was a good film. There are moments where, yes, they're trying to recreate the video games in movie format, but ultimately speaking, it just didn't feel like they could come up with a story for this film. And the characters just didn't feel like characters. I'm gonna give Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City a 3. That's all the time I have for today. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please also subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, please remember, the Badetsky will return.